Zach, so good to see you again. Welcome back to CNBC.
Great to be here.
So the new Formula One season is upon us. It looks like McLaren hit the ground running in Bahrain, but clearly still a lot of work to do. Any reflections on the first race?
Yeah, it was a really strong first race. I feel like we kind of picked up where we left off last year in Abu Dhabi. That being said, I think the field is extremely close. Daniel settled in well. Lando had an outstanding race, but looks like the same fight we had last year with Ferrari, Alpine, Aston Martin, and AlphaTauri will continue this year. I feel like we have taken a little bit of a step forward, so we're maybe a little bit more towards the front of that field, and then have closed the gap a little bit to Mercedes and Red Bull, but not enough, I think, to scare them on a weekly basis.
So tell us what fans can expect to see from McLaren this year, particularly given the changes that we've seen, a new driver lineup, a new engine, and new investment as well.
Yeah, I think, we're on our journey to get back to the front. We still have a ways to go, but we've been on this great journey from ninth, sixth, to fourth, third in the championship. I don't think it's going to be 2 and 1 in the next 2 years. So I think it does get harder here on forward, but we've got 2 great drivers, a new power unit that we think is more competitive. And, the team's just got a really good rhythm about it right now. So I think this year will look a lot like last year, but be even closer. I'd like to think we should be able to get on the podium a few times. If Lady Luck falls our way, maybe we can get to the top step of the podium, but I still don't think we have the pure pace to yet win a race. But there's always weather or something crazy that happens, and we just need to be there to capitalize on it. But I think we're going to have a strong season.
And that's despite the new power unit as well. This has been a big talking point across the F1 industry. Of course, McLaren was with Renault before. You've decided to move to a Mercedes power unit. Are you encouraged with the driver feedback that you're getting from the unit so far and the performance data you've been looking at?
Yeah, we definitely are. It's been the class of the field since the hybrid era. It's won every championship, so I think everyone would recognize it's the best overall package. All the engines are very close, so it's not a country mile better, but it is a more powerful, more reliable, better packaged engine, we believe, than others. So in Formula One, it's all about small incremental gains. And so we think we have made a gain in changing to Mercedes for this year. This year was unique because of the chassis, cars being frozen. So we weren't allowed the same amount of development freedom as the other teams because we needed to use our development freedom to install the new engines. So while we think there's a little bit of an advantage, we're a little bit of a disadvantage because of the way the rules played out in 2021. But long term, I think we've definitely made the right decision.
Okay, so a long-term investment there. I think there's a lot of expectations on McLaren right now as well, right? Because there is an assumption that this switch to Mercedes is automatically going to make McLaren better. So who do you aim to beat in the season ahead?
Well, I think it is going to make us better, but that gap to the first 2 cars while it's coming down is still substantial. So, if I look at everyone, based on Bahrain, it certainly seems like Ferrari has made the biggest off-season gain, finishing 6th in the championship last year. They ran us hard this first race. But I think with Alpine and Aston Martin and AlphaTauri, much like last year, each one took a turn at being the 3rd fastest team. So, each one has it in them. So now it's about executing and consistency. I think that was our strength last year, which is what got us 3rd in the championship. And also, I believe we have the strongest driver lineup in Formula One, which definitely made a difference last year.
Zach, I also wanted to ask you about the impact of COVID. This is something that we've all been living through for more than 12 months now. How has the pandemic impacted McLaren operationally and financially?
Well, obviously it was brutal last year, especially because it was unknown and no one had seen it coming. Fortunately, Formula One and the teams all rallied together to freeze effectively a lot of the development of the car. So we didn't have to spend the same amount of money getting ready for 21 that you normally would. So actually our economics, our bottom line was not impacted. We had a positive year against our proposed budget. Our revenues were down, but our expenses were equally down. And then Formula One reset the budget cap to yet a lower level. So I actually think Formula One and McLaren are healthier long-term because of the impact of COVID. So I think we will look back on COVID, and while obviously it's been devastating for the world on both a professional and personal level, from a pure business standpoint, I think Formula One's going to be healthier because of the way we tackled the pandemic. Of course, it's still here now, but it does seem like we see some light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm hoping this year will just be a kind of a gradual light getting bigger at the end of the tunnel, and get back to major fans at races soon.
And McLaren's had to make some significant changes. You mentioned the restructuring as well as the new investment. Has enough been done now to ease some of the financial concerns that the McLaren group had about financing the F1 team?
Yeah, we're in great shape now. So we brought in a minority investor, MSP Sports, along with UBS O'Connor and the jockeying companies. And Andreas Seidel, who runs the Formula One team for us, and the leadership team, we put together what we thought was a business plan to get us back to being able to compete for the World Championship. And the minority investors have come in and ultimately backed that business plan. So we're now in great shape. We don't have a dollar to waste, but we've got every dollar that we need. Now we just need to execute. So we've got great driver talent, great team talent, a very highly motivated men and women at McLaren, and everything we need. We just need a little bit more time to kind of come together and gel as a racing team, but I'm very optimistic about our future.
And Zach, just a couple of more questions before I let you go, because I'm a bit of an F1 fan myself. What's your own personal thoughts on having Aston Martin on the track? Do you think an old brand is going to attract a new legion of fans, perhaps?
Yeah, I think anytime you can get another new big brand in the sport, I think that's great. They've got big personalities there, big aspirations. They brought in a four-time champion Sebastian Vettel. So I think Aston Martin joining the sport is positive for all of us. We just have to keep them behind us.
You worried about fan retention? You don't think some McLaren fans might be seeping over to Aston Martin or rivals in this environment?
No, I think it's going to probably hopefully be the other way around. But it's good. It's good competition. McLaren is one of the fan favorites. Our drivers are the fan favorites. We're very focused on our fan base and digital and social media. So we push very hard to keep our fans very engaged with the McLaren brand. But anytime you have competition, it's great because it forces you to continue to raise your game and not fall asleep because they're only right around the corner.
And everyone's talking about the new signing as well. McLaren's just taken on new young gun American. I think he's only 13 years old, a go-karting champion. I know you have a bit of a history of picking stars, but is he going to be a Formula One champion in the future, do you think?
Well, we sure hope so. Ugo's a great talent. He's a European karting champion, comes from a very successful and great family. So I think it's important that young drivers have kind of a good environment around them, a good, healthy family who are very engaged and supportive. And so, it's clearly very early days. There's a 13, soon to be 14-year-old. But we like everything we see. We think he's very mature. He's very fast. And, hopefully just like Lando and Lewis, who of course McLaren found around that same age, hopefully Ugo stays focused, keeps winning races, matures. We can bring him a lot of support, and not too long, maybe he'll be in one of our Formula One cars. That's certainly his goal and our goal.
We'll be watching him closely. Zak, we'll leave it there. Great pleasure, as always, to talk with you. Looking forward to seeing you in Abu Dhabi soon.
Great to speak.